Hello guys, welcome to the current affairs analysis, where I'll be discussing all of the important aspects that are necessary for UPSC, and I'll be discussing all of the aftermath and before math and all of the concepts that are necessary for UPSC, be it GS1 mains or GS2 mains or any of the mains, or is it important for prelims, right? I'll be discussing today's newspaper, that is 18th March, right? I've seen the newspaper today, and I don't think there are many important aspects, but I've come across some editorials that are important, right? Let's discuss those editorials. There's a lot of politics than polity in the newspaper today. So that's the reason I chose to chose to ignore all of the other aspects that are related to politics. So yeah, let's move on to the first editorial of the day. First one is India's West Asia reset, more sin against than sinning. Basically, we've talked about all of the West Asia in many of the current affairs classes, where I've discussed how India's West Asia's policy is there, West Asia stance is there. And in yesterday's class, we discussed how India was said that it was neutral, but then again, it was drifting away from its neutral stance. So in this today's article, the author says that the author actually justifies India's stance towards West Asia, or the foreign policy towards West Asia, and they'll be discussing what are the trends in which India might drift its West Asia's foreign policy. So let's look at it. Basically, it says that India's West Asian. Wait a minute. Yeah. He says as India's West Asia reset, more sinned against than sinning. In this, the author Mahesh Sachdev says that India has been following two trends. India can follow two trends. One is that India maintaining a close tie with countries like Israel, Iran, right, UAE, Qatar. All of these countries, India can maintain a good tie because there's a $160 billion trade, and there's also oil supply. These are very important for India. So it says that the author says that India can follow this trend, or India can follow another trend where the Gulf countries including UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, all of these countries are moving away from reliance on USA. Previously, the Gulf countries saw USA as a big brother, where they considered USA for any global tension or any global events. They thought that USA would be there for their protection. But then again, when you see the recent events that have been happening in that area, in the Gulf countries area, you see that USA is not actually supporting that, due to which the Gulf countries are slowly starting to lose confidence in USA, due to which their dependence on USA might actually decrease, right? So what has India's stance been? If you actually have listened to the yesterday's class, I was saying that India's stance on West Asia's crisis was neutral in the starting, where India was supporting Israel, it was supporting Iran, and it was supporting all of the countries in the West Asia, and did not maintain what you call pro of anything. But then again, after when the USA sank the Iris Dina in the Indian Ocean, India's actions were not neutral in nature. It's actually started favoring countries that are towards India's national interest. National interest, meaning that USA is very important for India because of the tariffs that have been happening. I've explained all of that in yesterday's class, where I talked about the tariff system and how India will sign about the tariff architecture only when USA comes up with a tariff architecture. So USA is very important for India, right? As we are in a trade deficit with USA, and we need to ensure we are in a trade surplus with USA because they are important importers, right? And also Israel and India have had a very good ties over the years. And the article says that people have criticized India's actions, like visiting Israel, but then again, the author says that it was pre-planned. It was not actually planned after the war or not in line with the war. It was a pre-planned event, so there's no mistake of India. And the author also justifies that many countries like Russia, China, and Pakistan are taking stands based on their own interest, meaning that they are taking stands on Israel, Iran, and USA's conflict based on their own national interest. If they are supporting it, that is based on their national interest. If they are condemning it, it is based on their own national interest. Similarly, if they are supporting or condemning based on their national interest, why can't India do such thing? Because India is also sovereign. India can take decisions on its own. But that is how the author justifies India's stance towards West Asia's foreign policy. But then again, what you need to understand is that whenever we are trying to become a big power, we need to take stance that is ensuring that Gulf countries are more believing in us or trusting us rather than what do you call rather than not trusting us. Let's say that, yeah, should our stances or our actions should be in such a way that they should align with the Gulf countries. So because Gulf countries are very important for India, as I've said, that there's a $160 billion trade, and there is oil supply that is very important because India is reliant on oil supply for over 80% of its oil supply, right? So yeah, it says that India's stance should be in that way. The author also gives some suggestions where India can use some the opportunities that are present now. It says that it can follow with the Gulf countries. Gulf countries include UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, and Bahrain. These are all the Gulf countries. You need to remember all of these countries because UPSC has been known to ask which of the following are Gulf countries or are known as the Gulf country, are part of the Gulf Cooperation Council. So you need to remember all of these names. This is very important for prelims. What are the countries under the Gulf Cooperation Council? UAE, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, and Bahrain. These are all the countries that are under the Gulf Cooperation Council. The author says that we can use the Gulf Cooperation Council and mediate their events that are happening, the global tension. The author suggested for a GCC +1. As the Gulf countries are moving away from the reliance on the USA, the author says that we need to divert that reliance onto India so that India's power in the global events and global actions can be more. So yeah, he says that Global Cooperation Council +1 can be an ideal strategy for the West Asia. That is all just about this current editorial, India's West Asia Reset, more sin against than sinning. Moving on, a bit of a blur over India's new carbon credit plan. This carbon credit plan, this particular editorial talks about the budget allocation, where the Union Budget 2026 had an allocation of 20,000 crores for the carbon credit program. The editorial discusses on how vague the carbon credit program statement is. It says that in India, basically, whenever you're trying to capture the carbon or sequester the carbon, there are two methods. One is the carbon capture, utilization, and storage method, and the other one is carbon sequestration. Due to the vagueness of the statement or the sentence carbon credit program, this author discusses the whole aspect given in the editorial. It says that carbon credit capture and utilization and storage is for hard to abate countries, hard to abate industries. And these hard to abate industries include power, refineries, steel, chemicals, and cement. Hard to abate industries are those industries where when you even if you use renewable energies like solar or wind energy, the amount of what you call pollution that is created by them cannot be reduced. That is why you need to use special methods like carbon capture and utilization and storage. I'll explain a little on what carbon capture, utilization, and storage is. There are basically two methods in carbon capture, utilization, and storage method. One is the direct air capture. Direct air capture method is nothing but where you capture the amount of carbon dioxide that is present in the atmosphere directly through the air. Basically, what they'll do is they'll take the amine solution. There's an amine solution, amine, amine solution, and the atmosphere is passed through the amine solution, and the amine solution reacts with the carbon dioxide and captures all of the carbon, right, and leaves out the rest of the air. That way, the amount of air that is released is free of carbon, and the amount of carbon that is reacted is being captured in the amine solution. This is how the direct air capture method happens. Next comes the bioenergy capture method, biomass energy capture method, where all of the biomass are actually burned under anaerobic conditions. Anaerobic conditions meaning lack of oxygen. Whenever the biomass is burnt or the organic material is burnt under anaerobic conditions, you get biochar, bio oil, all of these byproducts you'll get. And whenever the atmosphere, the amount of smoke that is released, that smoke is actually passed through again the amine solution, and the amine solution captures all of the carbon and releases the clean air into the atmosphere. This is how the biomass energy capture method works. Okay, these are the two methods where these are two methods how the carbon is being captured. Now, what do you do when the carbon is captured? You either utilize. This utilization can be in many ways. One of the ways is by actually making them react with the carbon, calcium. The carbon is made to react with the calcium, forming a calcium carbonate. Now, this calcium carbonate can be used in many industries like bricks. It can be used as bricks. It can be used as mortar. It can be used as anything, right? This is how utilization happens. Lastly, there is storage. Now, the captured carbon is undergone certain what you call procedure, and after this certain procedure, it is compressed into either gas or into a liquid form. Now, this liquid form or gaseous form is transferred through pipelines. And where is this transfer happening? This transfer is happening to a natural gas reserve. Natural gas reserve. Basically, whenever you are using a natural gas reserve, the amount of gas is being reduced. Right? What they do is they pump the gas, compressed gas, into this natural gas reserve and store the amount of carbon for millions of years, thereby replenishing the fuel storage for the future. This is how the carbon capture, utilization, and storage method works, right? And then comes the carbon sequestration. Carbon sequestration. Carbon sequestration is nothing but segregation of the carbon. And this segregation of carbon is done by promoting soil formation. The soil formation ensures there is the old carbon is actually captured and not released into the atmosphere. Then again, using of organic methods. What are the organic methods? Organic methods refers to usage of natural fertilizers or natural pesticides. All of these are methods where you use where carbon sequestration happens. Now, what does the article say? The article says that while we are talking about the carbon credit program, as the vagueness was there, the author says that this vagueness can be understood by saying that the carbon credit program refers to carbon credit, carbon capture, utilization, and storage, and not carbon sequestration. The author says that the vague statement or vague sentence that was given in the budget refers to CCUS and not carbon sequestration. But why are we talking about carbon sequestration at all? The reason we are talking about carbon sequestration is because there's another sector, which is the agricultural sector, which emits a lot of carbon. Now, the agricultural sector is not under the hard to abate industries because the amount of carbon released is directly into the atmosphere. So it is actually hard to actually capture. Okay, but then again, it's not hard to abate it. That is the reason we are not including it under the hard to abate industries. Okay, the author says that while the carbon credit program refers to the carbon capture, utilization, and storage, we also need to focus on carbon sequestration because it also focuses on carbon sequestration because it is also an important way in which we can capture the carbon or ensure that the old carbon is not released into the atmosphere. So the author says that we need to bring in a new policy where farmers are remunerated, where the money is given to the farmers to ensure there is less tillage or utilization of natural methods like natural fertilizers or natural pesticides to ensure that the carbon is sequestered and not released into the atmosphere. So yeah, that is the gist of the particular editorial. It says that carbon credit program refers to carbon credit utilization and storage and not refers to carbon sequestration. We need to bring in a separate policy for carbon sequestration where the farmers are benefited and that in the same time the environment is also benefited. So yeah, next we have why the affiliation system is outdated. The affiliation system is outdated. Basically, the author says that India is moving away from the affiliation system, and this moving away is done by the National Educational Policy 2020, NEP 2020. It says that previously India was on affiliation basis, and NEP 2020 wants to change it. We'll see what affiliation is and how the NEP 2020 is trying to change it. Basically, affiliation refers to the attachment of a particular college to a university. You've seen in many colleges, it is written affiliated to JNTU, affiliated to OU, right? All of this refers to attachment. Affiliation is nothing but attachment of a college to a particular university. What happens when there is affiliation? The particular college follows the curriculum, syllabus, design, and all the courses given by the particular university. Okay, it is actually good, right? India has previously followed it and it is actually good. But the problem arises when a particular university is attached to many colleges. Now, you have seen many colleges being affiliated to JNTU or OU, meaning that there are thousands of colleges which are under just JNTU and OU. What does that mean? The administration is becoming more burdensome, meaning that university has to handle all the administration, all the syllabus, all the design, all the courses, all the exams, all the centers where they're conducted, the results that are being released, all the discrepancies that are happening in the particular college, all of these that particular university has to take care of. But what happens when all of this happens? The particular university becomes a clerk. It does all the clerical work for the universities, for the colleges, rather than doing actual contribution to the education sector. It is just managing all of the colleges. That reduces the efficiency of the universities. So what does the author say? The author says that the National Education Policy 2020 is trying to shift away from the affiliation. How the National Education Policy has introduced the concept of autonomous colleges. Now, what is an autonomous college? An autonomous college is a college where they can design their own syllabus, curriculum, or courses, or anything, and how the exams are conducted. All of these are designed and outlaid by the college itself. Now, what you need to understand is that previously the universities used to monitor and ensure there is accountability by the colleges. When the affiliation has been reduced or when the affiliation will be eliminated, the colleges will be autonomous and there will be no monitoring or there will not be any accountability. But the National Education Policy comes up with a brilliant idea. It says that when In order to maintain the accountability or quality, we'll come up with NIRF and NBA. NIRF is nothing but National Institutional Ranking Framework, where they are ranking the colleges based on the amount of what do you call quality that they are giving, and the amount of what do you call monitoring and administration that they're doing. Similarly, there is NBA. NBA is nothing but National Board of Accreditation. National Board of Accreditation ensures that the standards of that university are met, and the university's educational what do you call actions are qualitative in nature. So that way, it is not only ensuring that the autonomous colleges are free to make their own curriculum, syllabus, and the designs. It is also ensuring that the autonomous colleges are also accountable for their actions and the courses that they're designing. That way, it is ensuring there is quality. So the weaning off from the affiliation to the autonomous colleges is a smooth in nature. Thereby, the transition does not affect the education sector overall. So yeah, the author says that this transition from affiliation system to the what do you call autonomous system ensures a smooth transition and ensures that the education sector is more efficient in nature and ensures that our what do you call and they are contributing more to the GDP in nature. Okay, so that is what the article is saying. So yeah, that is all about today's paper discussion. I don't think there are many other aspects that are important in today's class discussion. I mean today's newspaper. But then again, if you feel like a particular aspect is important, I wouldn't stop you from studying. But what I would advise is that you need to find a boundary where you're studying, because it is very easy for you to get lost into the plethora of syllabus that is present, right? As the syllabus is not defined, you keep on studying and studying and studying, and you actually deep dive into the syllabus, right? It is not advised. I would suggest you to stick to the boundaries. Find the boundaries that you can only come through practice, right? As you keep on practicing, you will understand how much to study and what to study. So based on my knowledge, I've picked these three editorials. I think that are useful for UPSC. You can use the first article in GS2 mains, where you're focusing on international relations, right? And the second one you can use in GS3. In GS3 when it comes to environment and carbon credit program, right? And the last one you can use it in GS2 again, GS2 or GS1. GS2 you can use it under governance, and GS1 you can use it under education, right? You can use it under these two aspects. So that is how you need to look at all the editorials or all the puff pieces that are given in the newspaper then, right? So that's it for today's class. We'll meet you guys tomorrow in tomorrow's class. Thank you.